Welcome to Maisha Prime Women Talk here on Maisha Television. My name is Rida Karim Chebet. Much appreciation for joining us. I'm not alone in studio. I'm joined by two guests. We have from the far end, we have Sarah Murithi, and near next to me, we have Irene Mumbo Bushebi. So today we are going to tackle marriage, which I know is an issue because we've been receiving a lot of messages. People are asking how to maintain their marriages, how to make their marriages last longer, how to handle challenges when they come up in marriages. So today we're going to talk about marriage in general, but I know that we will not finish all parts. We will handle some for today. Then in our next program, we'll continue from where we'll stop for today. So you can engage with us on YouTube and Facebook, Maisha Television Kenya, Instagram and Twitter at Maisha TV KE, or via our phone number, which is 0746 999 841. So karibuni sana Irene and Sarah.
Thank you.
Just a word to Azana Sarah, then Irene before we continue.
Thank you, viewers, for watching us. Welcome. We are ready to help you work on your marriages. Karibuni sana.
Thank you. I'm so happy to welcome you again today as we engage into this. I know this is something that has always been an issue in the society, but as we are here, God has brought us here so that we can engage. Thank you.
Yes, and Sarah Murithi, she is a pastor, and also Irene is a pastor. They are married, they have kids, so they are wives, and they are also mothers. And because nimesema they are pastors, I know that most of the discussions will be based on what does the Bible say about marriage, and mostly. But then wale ambao waendi kanisa na wale ambao wa Kristo pia don't feel excluded, because I know that if you implement some of the issues that they are going to raise, I know that your marriages will work. So let's start with the definition of marriage. I will just read the definition of marriage according to the let me say dictionary. Then you will give your explanation in a layman language. So marriage is a legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship, historically and in some jurisdictions specifically a union between a man and a woman. Sarah.
It is true. But remember, these people must be adults. Yeah. Because marriage is for adults,
yes,
and even that is what the Bible says, that when a man and a woman gets of age, they should come together and live together and leave their parents. Because marriage is for adults, because adults are mature. They can be able to handle difficult situations. If it is a woman, she can be able to carry a child in her womb. If it is a man, he can be able to be called a father and a responsible one, not just a father. Yeah, so marriage is true. It is a union of two people, and two people who love one another, not people who are pushed to be together. Because the moment a marriage is for people who are pushed to be together, that marriage mostly doesn't work. It collapses from the initial stages. But when two people come together and even the law recognizes, it is good, because when it comes in the case of divorce, again the law will come in. The law will come in to help you divorce. Though we do not ask people to divorce unless there is the extreme. You know that extreme that you're pushed to the wall and you feel I can't live in this marriage. But like you've said, Chebet, it's true. A marriage is for two people, a dyad for two adult people, because of the responsibilities that comes with marriage as an institution.
Yeah, so still just stepping into what Sarah is saying, I think it is legally accepted, then it is customary accepted, and then religiously accepted. So when we add this onto that also, I know that we are going to push it on. And as we're talking about marriage, she's just jumped in with this issue of being adults. And I think maybe specifically, like in Kenya, I don't know, what is the specific age of, getting into this?
18 years.
Yeah.
She has an ID.
Yeah, so exactly. You've talked of an ID, and I think an ID, somebody can just attain an ID at the age of 18 and above. So we are putting it there because I know when you talk about legally accepted, then we know that legally it means you have to produce your identity card, the national identity card. So though we know of these marriages that have happened without this, and they are, because we've also included customary, so we come in with the society again, trying to bring in something that, you know what, this girl is of age, and or this boy is of age, and then he needs or she needs to get married. So when we get to that, you see, still there'll be these two people who have been pushed or forced to be together, even if they are not of good age, but already they are together in this union. And so we find that they continue forging ahead as a couple, you see. So yeah, basically I think we were just defining what this marriage thing is all about in a different perspective from what she's just read from the dictionary. And then putting into that, we also have to remember that they have to be people who are together for a common goal. And then mutually they also have to understand each other in terms of we are here, am I ready for this, are you ready for it, whatever we are going to do, are we going to do it together, are we going to, you know, put everything we have together. Sarah has just mentioned something about, you know, leaving our parents. You know, when we leave our parents, we don't necessarily talk about leaving them as in letting them not be our parents, but we are still hooked to them, but we know that now we have to give room, so that if there is anything we are doing now, we are doing as the two of us, and we don't really give too much space to the parents maybe to come in, so that they influence so much of what we are doing, though we know basically not just in African setup, but the whole world, let me say, the parents have a basic role to play. Because there are things maybe we cannot just do on our own and say we are satisfied with it. Parents are really part of us, because they are people whom God has brought us into this world through them. So we always have to consult, we always have to put them in the picture. But we are talking about now, you know, giving room for these people now to also grow and be people that we can also now term as parents. You see, so that is, we are trying to expound onto this word marriage from the dictionary, from our perspectives, and then as we put it together, we really find out what a marriage is.
Yes, perhaps I'll just I should add something, because I've realized the issue of age has just come up, and Sarah said that marriage should be between adults. Irene muuliza miaka inaweza kuwa ngapi, like 18, but then you find that in most cases the 18-year-olds are still students.
They are still students.
Sasa kuna mtu pale atasema nikifika 18, so amesema that is a legal age, I have an ID, I can get married. So 18 years according to our standards, let me say in Kenya, maybe huyo ni mwanafunzi ambaye bado yuko shule. And then there is the issue of you'll find that an 18-year-old boy and 18-year-old girl, they are not the same. Kimawazo, kufikiria, kuthink. You'll find that the girl will be more matured than the boy. So also pia before we continue, actually I'd like you to tackle the issue of age. Is it compulsory that mwanaume akue age ya juu, msichana ya chini, ama they can just be of the same age na kila kitu itakuwa sawa? I've heard that question severally.
I think that's a real issue. And let's start from where you started in terms of, you know, 18 years, we still have our children as children, and they're still going to school, we take care of them. But we were saying that if there is any pressure that somebody has to get married, then it is that age and above, you see. So that is maybe the line unto which we can draw that line and say it is from here. So that is where we can get this. And then now, when we're talking about the difference in age, we've seen it many a times that men, we really need to have them at a higher age than the age of the women or the ladies, because as you've just said it, you know, men sometimes we find that there's something that is kind of missing, if and especially if you put together a man and a woman who are of the same age, you'll find that there's always that knock all the time, because the woman will be like having a higher capacity of thinking than now the man, which is not really advisable in a marriage. And I think we'll be breaking this down as we come into much more about marriage. So you find that we really need to have a man who is a little bit up in age than the woman, kwa sababu this woman anahitaji kuwa mtu ambaye ana nikisema kutawaliwa, I think looks so bad, but that is the reality anyway, because you really need to be somebody who is under another one. You have an authority over you. So if you are just going to say that you are the authority here, maybe you might not go right. We know what women sometimes we can do with authority. So if given that authority and then not given a limit or being tamed in a certain level or a certain way, you find that women sometimes we engage into our own thinking. And so if a man is somebody who is of the same age as a woman or lower than the woman, you find that the woman will be the authority now. And when she becomes the authority, there are things that really from the background that we come from, you find that maybe the woman cannot run it well, because being the authority, and then the man, okay, maybe she can do it well if she's alone as just a woman, but if left to be under the man with the same authority, I think now there'll be a problem, because we know how sometimes we behave. We've talked here several times about women being so emotional, and when they think that they are in authority and that emotional thing still crops up, you know, there's something that is going to happen. So what you're saying is about maturity, and we find that men, they mature much more when they are of good age rather than women or ladies. We find that we mature a little bit faster. Sometimes we are more mature than our age. You look at somebody at 18 as a girl, you find that they are too mature. And then this boy who is also 18, sometimes the maturity of that man or that boy is a little bit, you know, lower. So we find that we really need to give this man more time to come of good age, and then when he's of good age, he will have covered this gap between now the lady and the boy, so that when now the girl or the boy, the girl comes in, she finds that the man has already closed the gap. So the lady is like the one who is being pulled from down. But otherwise, if it is the other way around, then we are going to have this problem, and especially in marriage where we have to stick together. And like I think Sarah has just tackled that, saying that unless you are pushed to the wall so that we get to divorce, otherwise it is always like, you know what, we have to put this together.
About age, you know, our society dictates that a man should be older than a girl. And I believe it is because when a man is older, he can be able to take care of the wife and the family. And like when a girl is mature, like Irene has just put it very clearly, you know, girls, we tend to think very fast, act very fast. And you know, when girls are older and they have the exposure, at times become not being those who can be taught to do something. It's like we want to rule even the man like we are ruling our children, because of that age difference. So I think a man should be a bit mature than the girl. But in case they come together and realize the girl is older than the man, it should not disharmonize that family. They should still continue behaving like the man is the older one here, and the girl should not be under the man, because they keep saying that the man is the head of the house, and you know, you cannot be two heads. So it is for the woman to realize, although my husband is younger than I am, I'm not beyond him. He should tell me, I should hear, I should respect him, because again, in marriage, respect is what matters a lot, not even a matter of the age. When we talk about 18s having an idea and somebody says I'm in school and I can get married, if you go back to our society in the olden days, our mothers got married when they were 16, 17,
15.
And 15, and they are proud of that, and they have kept their families intact, though there are those challenges, because you know, you are not taught how to be a parent. So they got married at that age, and they were able to maintain marriages. But remember, in those times, education for the girl child was not as like today, because that time you get 16, you get married, and you're not given the opportunity to go on with your education if you had even begun. You get, but now girls are being given this the same education that the boys are being given. And now this is where we say that when you are 18, although you have that idea, you have not yet matured enough to get married, although you are mature enough to get married. Because one, you're undertaking your studies, you must complete one. And remember, with marriage comes so many responsibilities. So get a child or get pregnant. So you're going to balance between your education and your child. A mother sacrifices education, doesn't sacrifice that child. So it is good that even when you are 18, because you said that when you have an ID, you can get married. No, you say, finish your studies, and then now come to the right age and feel, now I am ready to handle marriage. I'm ready to handle a husband and children and the responsibilities that comes with marriage. Those who are listening to us girls who are 18 years and 19 and 20, finish your career first, and then when you finish, you can now get married and settle. And you know, when you are 18, again you are still in that age, you call it a teenage age, whereby there is a confusion of your role and identity. You're confused of whom I am, what does the society expect of me, what do I expect of myself? So you have not yet actually matured completely, though in your perception you be seen like you are fully matured, because now you are being called an adult. You have the right to make your own decisions, but those decisions you make, marriage is different from how you handle yourself alone. That's now where the difference comes to age, because when you are 18, you can decide today that I'm not going to cook. I'm going to sleep on an empty stomach. Or I'm just going to take a cup of tea and I sleep. But when you get married at that age, you must cook for somebody. You not just somebody go to bed like I'm going to bed. So when you're 18 years, you are an adult, but are you mature for the responsibilities that come with marriage? Because there are quite many. Responsibilities of a marriage are quite many. Is this 18-year-old girl able to handle them? Because that is a question they should ask themselves. I am 18 with an ID card, and Sarah Dyrene said, when you are 18, you can get married. But ask yourself, am I ready to handle those responsibilities? Because if I like, even why marriage is for, like I was saying, for the young people don't work very well, it is because you got marriage thinking that you're mature enough and you are able to handle. And then you get to that institution and find, wow, it is opposite of what I expected. So 18, they should take time so that they can be mentored by their parents to mature and also to be able to handle responsibilities that comes with marriage.
I think as Sarah is just talking, I'm getting somebody who is back at home, you know, a girl or a boy whom was raised from an environment where maybe people are not going to school, and immediately maybe they are from 5 years, 6, 7, they're already introduced to being responsible as parents. You know, there's that kind of society.
There is actually.
Where you find that a boy or a girl has assumed the responsibility of a parent as young as they are. And now when we are talking about 18, they are wondering, you're talking about 18? I was ready to cook and do everything at 8 years.
That's what I said. Our mothers, they got married at
15,
16, 19. That's why I began. Because they had been taught solely about the responsibilities of our marriage institution. But let us be frank, nowadays, the society that we are living in, are we training responsible adults? Most of us, are we? Because the fact that a child has been brought up in the area or in the era of an auntie does everything. You get, an auntie does everything for this child. So cooks for this child, washes dishes, washes when the innerwears, does everything is done until she's at 18. Now we have two societies here where you're saying we have responsible children from the age of 5, 6, because they look after cattle. These would be good men or husbands, you get?
Of course.
So this is a girl who has been left and is taking care of 10 siblings.
Yeah, sure.
And she's 5, she's 10. So she knows to cook, she knows to wash clothes. And not on this other hand, we are saying this one does not know anything. So for this one does not know anything, it is good for us to take time and train. Because all these skills that this child in this society who has been trained to look after cattle, to go herding, to go looking for coney, this is a person even when he becomes a family man, he will hustle for the family. And like this one, who is normally called Baba, do this, I'm doing for You get the difference? So we are talking about this now, this one, who is listening to us. Now, she's saying, or he is saying, I am 18. And I can make my own decisions. The question is, can you make decisions for a husband or for a wife? If you can, go ahead and get married. You get?
And then maybe not just making a decision, working on those decisions.
Working on those decisions.
To bring up something.
Yeah.
That's true.
You get? So, you know, society is changing. It is not like it was those long time ago. Because during that time, that society of our parents, and when I began by saying, there were shabas. People go to the shaba and you plant, come harvest time and you. So responsibility is trained at that time. Now where are the shabas today?
We don't have none.
So why are we training our children to go and pick coffee or chuna majani? They are in boarding schools. When they come back from boarding schools, they come back into their homes where they are nurtured as kababa and kamama. So they are not trained to be fathers or mothers. You get? Because they are not given those hard responsibilities. You know, when you're given a responsibility that will make you think on your own, that will make you sweat, I'm telling you, you get hardened. And you'll be able to solve problems. Because, umeachiwa na mama, umeambiwa, hawa watoto nataka nikirudi, I want them clean, you cook for them. And you are given very little flour to cook for them. There is no stew. You think outside the box. Nimeachiwa hii ugali, hakuna sukuma wiki,
now how?
I'd have to feed these children as I feed myself. Nitapika hii ugali tukule na nini. So there you see there is tea leaves, there is water. So you can make strong tea. You can, so you're thinking outside the box. But for the ones we are raising, we are make sure auntie is there, and if she's not there, I'll wake up very early and I'll cook even for that 18-year-old. But that she helps me to cook, it's me make sure that she's not on an empty stomach. So there is that difference of the society. The society is changing. Everything actually is changing. It's not like we began.
Na pia kitambo you'll find that there are those classes, msichana akifika age fulani, mvulana akifika age fulani, kulikuwa na trainings ambazo zilikuwa zinafanyika. Msichana anaanza kutrainiwa majukumu ya mama, mwanaume anaanza kutrainiwa majukumu ya kuwa baba. So there is that difference. These days I don't think there is that education. Utamtrain sangapi wakati yuko shuleni? So it's a bit challenge. So let's go back a little bit, the foundation of marriage, because you will find that these marriages are squeezed and face a lot of challenges. But then you will find that maybe most of those married couples have no idea what is the foundation of this thing called marriage. I know, Irene, some time back, you say that the genesis of marriage ilintroduciwa na God pale Garden of Eden when he made Eve akampea Adamu and told them to multiply and now jaze dunia. So the foundation of marriage, I'd like us just to tackle a little bit about the foundation, because I know that most people don't understand hii marriage itokea wapi. Waliamka tu na unapata that watu wawili wanakutana and become husband
and they also expected to look the same.
Yeah, sure. Just as you mentioned, I think the foundation of marriage, everybody should understand. And sometimes we miss the mark, because we think vile Sarah anasema wamepata watu wanaoa na kuoana na kuishi, sasa wanasema hata sisi we are expected to do the same. I think if we are going to take it serious from the point that, you know, God started this and he started it on a serious note, and on a serious note that these people whom he's joined together, they were bound to stay together, because he had his all reasons that these people, when they stay together, there's something that they're going to do that is going to please God yet still. So if we understand that that is the foundation of this marriage, then it is going to be a stronger bond. It is going to be something that is not, we just wake up one morning and say, after all, ninaweza ishi bila wewe. No. If we know the foundation, we can do a lot. And so coming back to this foundation, we remember from the book of Genesis, we are told that, you know, God gave Adam the responsibility of everything. And then all of a sudden, he realized that Adam could do everything he was told to do, But every time he would come back and sit, he was very lonely. You see, he would do everything, but still he was feeling so lonely. So God decided, this guy, I think he has no much out there. There are lions, there are elephants, there are giraffes, the vegetation is there, but he's not happy about all of them. So he really needs somebody who is going to come in and help him be, you know, be jovial. After doing all that work and settling down, there is somebody who is going to also take care of him, because he's been taking care of other things and other duties. So that is where God decided that now what? We are going to bring this one into existence. And there, you know, coming back to the biblical point of view, we know that when we read from Genesis 1, 27, 28, there we find that God, we are talking about God in three, that is in the three departments of God. And then they are saying, let's make man in our own image. Let's make them male and female.
Yeah.
And so you find that in the first plan of God, the female was there, but she didn't come into existence immediately. She was brought in after God looked into everything and realized that, you know what, this guy needs the female that we said. You see, but they were all in existence. So one was supposed to be in the spiritual realm, and the other one was to be in existence, to manage everything. And so that is why when now a woman comes, she's supposed to really support this man from the spiritual end. Are you seeing that? The man will go around and do so much, but the woman is supposed to really look into those little things that are making this man not be complete. Even when he's running around and doing everything, there are things that are missing right inside of him. And who is going to place them back there? The woman. So the woman here, and that is why you see we are so emotional, because we do everything from the emotional point of view. So this woman is supposed to come in and fill those gaps that are missing. After the man has been drained out there doing everything, then the woman has to come in and now put those things back. And how do you do this? A woman, you have to do this by being very spiritual. And when talking about spirituality, I know there are those people who understand spiritual from their different point of view. But now I want to cite out one that I know is very powerful and is going to work for us. Seek God. When you're going to seek God, you'll find that every stability that that man needs will always come from you. And that is why you find that when people, when two people, that is, we've talked about the two adults, that is the man and the woman, when they come together and they are really tight, bound together well, people start talking of, you know, ule mwanamke amekalia mume wake. You know what? Yeah, because she's working so hard in the background to see that this guy, when he settles back, that area where he was drained is filled back. Are you seeing?
Yeah.
So if you're going to understand that as a woman and even as a man, I think we are not going to reach at a point where you say that, you know, I can live without you. You'll realize that you really don't, there's no way you're going to exist without him. So you without her. So you need to make sure that whenever there is anything that comes in that wants to separate you, can you work on that thing and then come back to who you are? Somebody once said that, you know what, when your vision is too big, everything else becomes too small.
Sure.
So the vision here is we have to stick together despite every fact. I know Sarah mentioned this, and we also reiterate on it because we know we live in a society where people do things now differently, the way God expected them to do them. So you find that sometimes you are pushed to a certain level where, for sure, even us, where we are seated here today, we can advise you that you could have jumped out of that place like yesterday, you know, because this one has refused to do what needs to be done, whether it is the man or the woman. But we are talking about the bigger vision, and that is now where we are coming about in terms of foundation. Who founded this? God. And I believe, even if it is what kind of impossibility, when people resolve to look for God in this, because he's the one who has laid the foundation of what we are doing or what we are standing on. So if you come back to him, I believe whatever impossibility was there was going to be resolved. So please, if you realize this, and that is the foundation we are talking about, and I know we also have our customs, we have our traditions, which are also very key when we're talking about foundation, because we know there is somewhere we are coming from. And this place we are coming from, there were virtues, there were those things that were good in the society, that supported what God did initiate when he was laying the foundation. And these things are very key. If you hold on to them, you find that you will not miss no point. because you might get to hook up with somebody who does not really know much or depend much on the religious background, because they just don't know. So, you know, if you have to work with these people, then you have to bring in also the virtues that support the foundation that was laid by God to make sure that now we are on the right ground. And when you do this, you find that ultimately you'll be ending onto that position where God really wanted you to be, because you took the virtues from the society, from the tradition point of view. Because I know even those traditional people, they were working from God's mind, one way or the other. It's only that at some point other people did decide to twist what was godly and made it into what they wanted, and that is where now the spoil comes in. But otherwise, if we take the right virtues and then we place them here, you'll find that they roll up to what God wanted. You see, so that is why we are saying the foundation of marriage is God.
Yeah. And they usually say, by the way, that there is a point where you'll find that religion, let me say, for instance, Christianity and the culture meets.
Yeah, they really are.
So
Sarah, of course, there is nowhere where you can find a tradition that was not founded on God.
Yeah.
You know, it's only that they reached a certain level and decided to twist it into what they want. Because what does the Bible say? Why are we tempted? And sometimes we think it's God tempting us. It's because of our own desires.
Yeah.
Because we came in with things that we think are fitting us, and so that is what we want to do, rather than what God told us to do. Yes, Sarah.
So Sarah, make us understand the foundation of this thing called marriage.
Marriage, like we normally say, it was begun by God himself in the Garden of Eden. And he intended for man and woman to help him in recreation or procreation. That's why he said, marry and multiply, fill the earth. You see, God only created two people. And he expected out of these two people, the whole earth will be filled. You see? And that is what happened. For Christians, we know that. And even for those non-Christians, they must know that biblically, it is God who founded marriage. And it was meant for man and woman. And that is why when we look into those cultures that are not Christian, founded, we see them embracing
man and a woman.
Man and woman marriage. Because there is also that foundation at the back of their mind. They know the creator of the world is one, and that is God. And he created male and female for the purpose of procreation. We go out there and fill the world. It's just like human, we are of a sinful nature. You get? What do I mean by sinful nature? We like those things that will please us and not those things that will please God. Because if a man and a woman has agreed to marry, they will not be separating, they will not be fighting because they are going to displease God, who is the founder of marriage, and God is our father. You get? So, you know, if a marriage is founded on God, it will last. It lasts forever. Because there is that knowledge of the woman that I have to put my family in prayer before God so that he can hold it together. And could be there's a viewer who is listening to us and is asking, me, I'm not a Christian, and I'm married. You get? I'm married. And I'm still passing through these tribulations. Though the marriage was founded by God himself, and I'm a Christian. Na bado napitia haya mateso. And could be she's asking, or is asking, should a Christian pitia mateso? And I'll say yes. We are not immune to mateso. And at times, this we call mateso comes to strengthen us or to make us open up our mind and see how we can be able to manage ourselves and how we can help another person. Now, when a father and a mother comes in here, they are the ones who have begun marriage. God began Adam and Eve. Me, I was born and I got married to a man. Now we are also beginning another foundation for our generation to come, whereby I have given birth to sons. It is my responsibility to teach them how our custom or how our culture believes in the foundation of marriage, so that they also embrace that marriage. And it is my responsibility as a parent to train my child knowing that marriage is a must, because it's the core. So when he comes or he reaches a certain age, I as a parent, I should be able to help my child or my daughter know that you are expected to get a wife some point in your life, or you are expected to get a man in some point of your life. I don't know that I'm making sense, because I know that marriage was begun by God, and I got into there. My children do not know, so I have to train them of what the Bible says about marriage. And I must also train them of what I expect of them as a parent. So that we don't reach a point in place like I was reading in the media that I think I mentioned the other time. A parent is rushing to take the son-in-law and the daughter-in-law to court because they are not giving birth to a child. What if this parent made these children understand that when you get married, we expect you to give birth? Unajua hasa ati wenye tunasemaga wako na shida, it is literally refusing. What if the parents like I'm saying, I as Sarah, it is my responsibility to train my child to hold marriage, as the Bible says. And I told them, when you get married, we expect you to multiply the earth, not the harder children, no, but you need to bring forth children. And now when you train your children, this is the first generation, they should be able to train their children. That is the second generation about marriage. And now as a parent again, you are coming as a role model. You know, I must act according to the Bible. Bible says, wife, submit to your husband. And then the Bible tells this husband, love your wife. She is a weaker vessel, but you shall inherit the kingdom of God together. So the man has a responsibility to love me. So my children should see the love the father is showing me, so that they'll be able to give to their children. And the cycle does what? Continues. But if these children, I bring them into this world and they see me as a woman, I'm not humbling myself to their father. If it is a girl, what will she carry into her own home? The same thing. If it is a son, what will he carry into his home? The same behavior. So it begins from now, we parents who know the way. So that we teach these children, you know, it's not like in the old, during those years, the society, there are some things that even children couldn't be taught when they are not of age. But nowadays you find that there's too much exposure because of the internet. So, you know, our time used to be taught that children are bought from the hospital or they are collected from the bush. Nowadays, Irene, to get pregnant, and your son tell you, Mama, hiyo tumbo yako ni kubwa sana. Iko na nini ndani?
They want to know.
They want to know. And you tell them that it is food. You not, because you're working with them a journey and they'll be looking at you every day. Yajua ni chakula na kwa nini haifanyi nini? Hairudi chini. So these children that we are raising today are very curious. They want to know everything. So you've come from the era of telling children that you are bought or you are collected from a bush. You get. So this is what I'm saying. Train your children that when they become of age, they'll get wives, they'll get husbands, and when they get husbands, they'll get children of their own. So when you train them from the word go here, and they also be able to train. Now, could be a viewer is asking, Sarah, what are you talking about? How do I tell my child I expect to get married, which is the right time? You know, we have a transition from childhood to adulthood. And this adulthood begins from 14 years or from 11 years. Not these children maturing very fast, like I'm saying. But from 14 years, now this child is a teen. And that is where now the feelings of attraction to the opposite sex begin. So you find that your son was not into girls, but now he is into girls. Your daughter was not into boys, but now she's into boys. And when you realize there's a relationship that is building, it is on the high time that you parent go and tell your child, sitaki kukuona na huyu kijana. No. Sit down and talk to your child. Because now remember, she's having the mind of an adult now. She can think for herself. Sile siku she was 2-3 years old, you kept saying fanya. Now, utamwambia natakuza kwa nini nisioge? Now wow. So it is good now. This is a time now you start mentoring. Yeah, relationship is good, but it should not go beyond. But remember, we expect you at a certain age, we expect you to have a wife or to have a husband. That is the age to start training. So that this child grows knowing ya kwamba I am expected by my parents that one day I'll be like them. Marry, get married, move out and have children.
Sarah, I'm seeing that our first time is up. Let's go for a short commercial break. We'll be coming back and we are continuing with our topic, which is about marriage. We're basically discussing about the origin, the foundation of marriage, and I think that we'll continue this topic in our second part. Thank you so much. My guest, we have Irene Mumbo Bushedi, and also we have Sarah Muridhi. My name is Rida Kering Chebet. Stay tuned.
Information, knowledge, astute expert analysis.
Kalonzo leo ako hii side, kesho ako hii side. Even to his children at home, they're really wondering, what does my father stand for?
Kutokuwa na msimamo ni kitu mbaya sana. Kutokuwa na msimamo ni kitu mbaya sana. Ni kitu mbaya sana.
Never implemented because of the confusion that arose because of the handshake stories.
Lakini mzee amekanyanga polepole akuja kupitia ukiwa bado kwa barabara.
I wouldn't say that, because I would go with what Deputy President himself said when he was unveiling regarding Gachagua, because it will be putting words in his mouth.
Credible and authoritative insight in news and leadership auditing.
Right, welcome on board. My name is Rida Kering Chebet.
Get the latest financial and business information.
The only challenge we have now is about the hike of the prices of food, whereby when you come like the oil we have now, the price is too high for us.
Hoteli lazima iwe na changamoto zake, sababu ukiona saizi ni wakati tumekuwa kwa corona ndio imeisha, sasa hivi vitu zimepanda. So for us to maintain ile quantity, it's now a problem for us. So we have to add some prices to other things, or we have to reduce the quantity.
That will open your acumen on sound investment in the largest and most developed country in Eastern and Central Africa.
I swear to God, I love Kenya.
I guess I tell all fellow Kenyans to just, be in love and respect love and the place it plays in our lives.
TV will never be the same again. It will be better.
Really appreciate CA and also our viewers. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Maisha!
Introducing the award-winning TV station, Maisha TV, Kenya's fastest growing TV.
There is a saying Behind every great man is a great woman. But there is a divide, a gap, a separation. It's about acknowledging the unseen efforts, the disparity, and expectations. Support. What does it mean to have support? To give support? To live without support? It's time that support goes both ways. Because beside every great man is a great woman. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Maisha Prime Women Talk, where real women engage. My name is Rida Kering Chebet, and of course I'm not alone in studio. I'm with Irene Mumbo Bushebi together with Sarah Muridhi, and today we are discussing about marriage. You can engage with us. Tell us what you're thinking about this topic via our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, Maisha Television Kenya, Instagram and Twitter at Maisha TV KE, or via our phone number, which is 0746 999 841. So before we went for a break, Sarah was talking about the foundation of marriage, and I remember, Irene, you said about the our culture, and also on the biblical side, kitambo. Nisiseme wakati wa wazazi wetu, maybe wakati mimi, unajua mimi ni mdogo, wakati wa kina nyanya yetu, you'll find that polygamy was something that was embraced. You'll find that like personally penye mimi natoka kwa kina nyanya yangu, I can say that walikuwa bibi wawili, and it was okay during that time. But then in our generation, in our current society, you'll find that polygamous marriage is not that much embraced. What could be the reason, and is it good? Because you'll find that in those times, those marriages used to work. Kila kitu ilikuwa sawa. You'll find that watoto wa hii nyumba na hii nyumba walikuwa wanaishi pamoja. Hata ungepata that walikuwa wanaishi kwa compound moja, but then that is not the case in our current society. Kama iko ni ya kuficha chini ya maji. Si sana sana. I didn't tuanze na wewe.
Yeah, I know that sometimes everything has the advantage and the disadvantage of it. And again, when I'm talking about this, I'm reminding myself that, you know what, sometimes ignorance is also good or bad, depending on when it comes in. Yeah. And I think when people did know that if you have more than one wife, so we've just been talking about a wife being a support system for a man. And so they realized that I just don't need one. I need two of them. Yes, I need two of them. So if this one is not doing what I really wanted, then I can go to this other one. But you know, with time, and that was when people really didn't know what God expected of them. Because I think this was a culture that was here before, we got into the introduction of what who God is and what God wants. And so it was even easier because that is something that was raised with the tradition and the culture that was there. And so because it was something that was there for the society embraced it and did make sure that there were checks and balances about it. And so anybody getting into it, they were advised on how to go about it. And so they also had information about how to keep 2 wives. And even the wives, they were ready for another wife and another one and another one. And they were taught how to live together as the 4 or 5 of them. And so it was easy because they had information about the same. And we find that as time was rolling by and now we got the introduction of the Bible and what God expects of us, things started changing because people realized that yes, in the Old Testament we found that yes, being polygamous was not an error. Yeah. But with the introduction of the New Testament, that is the New Covenant, we find that, okay, this was not what God wanted. People just did it because it was because of their desire, and I think we've talked about that. Yeah. It was something that was introduced because people thought it's a good thing, just like we've said. You know, when somebody sees that 1 can help me, I think 2 can help me better. Yeah. So that is what they were thinking, and then they brought in that. And so when people got this information and also realized that, you know, if you have 1 wife, you are better placed because you don't have a lot of evils coming in, because we can see those people who are having more than 1 wives, they were having issues. We remember the time of David, we remember the time of Solomon, and some of even of the greatest kings that existed. Their problems started from the wives. Because we are told the wives started coming in with gods, the small gods, you know, so that they bring them over to their husbands who are the kings. And when the kings started worshipping these gods, everything went down, you see. So, and we, even in today's life, we know that when we have more than 1 wife, they start having problem with each other. And when they do this, huyu ataleta uchawi wa kwao, huyu ameleta ya kwao, and when these uchawi zikikuja hapa, ultimately utapata even the husband is the one who is going to die. Yeah, and the children are going to be useless in the society kwa sababu kila mtu anataka kuonyesha nguvu yake. Katika mapishano yale, you find that something happens that is not right for this family. So people have realized that if you have 1 problem and then you see how you can handle it and solve it, which is now the intention of God. That as much as human beings we think that if you have 2, I've told you that 1 will help you. Yeah. But you are thinking that 2 of them are going to be better. That is your thinking. That is not my thinking. My thinking is this one is enough. So the only thing you need to do is how to manage this 1 woman, you see, because I'm going to give you a laid down strategy on how to handle her. And I think Sarah just mentioned that about loving the wife, though they are weak. They have their own weaknesses, but you know, you love them so that they know what to do. And also the wives are told to submit to their men, you see. So when we come up with this, we find that, yes, it really worked well for us when we didn't know what God expected of us then for these 2 women. And the reason why it worked right was, you see, the society came up with laws to govern these 2 women, or 3 or 4 as they were. So the man was advised on how to run his home with the more than 1 wives. But we come to this society today, it is like, because the introduction of the 1 wife came in because of the word of God, you find that everybody went back and was still thinking, how are we going to now come up with this society telling us about the 2 and now raising the 2, and then the Bible has come in now with the 1 and now how to run the 1. So people are in this balance, and you see there are people who are trying to have 2, issues are coming up. There are those people who are having 1, issues are coming up, and then they are saying, I think at the end of the day it's not even good. But we are saying here, there are advantages and disadvantages. But one thing I have to repeat and repeat again is that the intention of God is that you have 1 wife. That is what we did see God doing, because that was the foundation of marriage. And when he did that, he brought this institution, and he brought the 1 wife for the 1 husband. So the 2 and the 3 and the 4, that is the idea of men. And if it is the idea of men, then you can support it with your men ideas. But the godly ideas that I was talking about cannot support that. It will not really work well for you. I know there are people who are telling me, no, you even don't know. I ran my 5 women well. I know you are running them well, but there'll come a time when you'll be answerable for what you did. Yes. And even the women, I'm talking about this, remembering, there are women who are even getting married to 2, 3, 4 men.
All even 6.
Yes, and they are still staying with that one. We know those things are now existing today. We are telling you, shauri yako. Yes.
Sarah. Okay. Initially, when God began marriage, or when God had the intention of marriage, He intended a man to have one wife and wife to have one husband. Look at that creation of Adam and Eve. From the ribs, he got one
rib.
He didn't get two, Eve. But not because of the sinful nature of man. That is now where our desires took over us and began having 2-3 wives. But initially God intended that man should marry one and wife should be married to
one husband. Yeah.
Get? I did mention something about our customs at the back of the mind, knowing the origin of godly things. If you look at the Old Testament, it is so much applauded or talked about this person having 2 wives, 2 wives. And I'm sure the people who have got 2 wives will agree with me and they support themselves by saying, for sure, the Old Testament
talks about it.
Yeah, sure. We are not in disagreement. It talks about it. But no, coming of the New Testament or the New Covenant, it is just one wife. And could be somebody now is saying, I am married where I'm the 3rd wife. Sarah, what should I do? Should I leave my husband? And I say no.
No.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
Unless a conviction comes and tells you, I should not be in this marriage, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. So don't destroy your marriage. And Sarah said, I should. Now, you asked a very good question, Chebet. Why is it that in those times of our great-grandfathers, polygamy was well managed? And nowadays, even supporting 2 is a problem. Where are the resources? During that time, a man would have 100 cows, 100 goats, camels, name them, 100 acres or 200 acres of plants, a lad. So plantations of coffee, tea, he has it. Now, surely, where is it today? We are hustling. You hustle to maintain 3 mouths. You ask your wife and 1 child. When you bring a second child, you're still getting stressed. Amekuja kimakosa. Where will guy get food from? Now you get another second wife or a 3rd one. Will you not die of stress? You will, because resources are not there that are going to support the polygamy marriage. And that is the difference between this society and the old society. Resources were there. And now remember, because it was a culture that they were brought up knowing and accepting that polygamy is the kawaida way or the kawaida thing. So if your grandfather had the 1st and the 2nd wife, and these children are brought into that family, they know they need to live in harmony, and they accept their father. Whatever they have, they share. The women were taught, he doesn't only belong to you, he belongs to that other one. Now the Christian era has come where we are telling our children, you should only have 1 wife. So mzee akienda alete mwingine wa pili, there will be that competition of resources. And these children know that they should have only 1. So watakuwa naangalia hao wengine, nyinyi mmekuja kutuibia baba yetu ama kutuharibia familia yetu. That's why there is no love between the polygamers of today and like of that time, because of the changing times of the society, the changing norms of the society. What was believed during that time is not what is being believed today.
Yes. And I know that you'll say, Irene has said, and you've also said that the New Testament says that a man should have 1 wife, and also a woman should have 1 wife. But then you'll find that people are pretending in these marriages. Ni kuna mmoja kwa nyumba, lakini kuna wengine 2 watatu kule nje ambao sana sana wao wanaitwa side chicks ama mpango wa kando. Then you'll find that eventually vitu zitakuja kulipuka. So what is there a need kufanya iko siri, or should they just accept na waweke polygamy kama kitambo, waje wote than kufanya chini ya maji iko, but then you're pretending that ni mke mmoja nje niko naye, but then kuna wengine huko.
Do you know why they are pretending? It is because they know the truth. You should only have one wife. Because if you do not know the truth, you should bring them to the limelight so that we know. We don't learn that you had 3 wives during your funeral. That's when the second wife comes here, or that side chick. Alikuwa ananilea watoto wangu, alikuwa ananisupport, and now the family does not recognize me. How do you be recognized and you are hidden? So if you know that your man has another wife, you are the side chick as they call them. It is not me calling them. Now, if you realize that you are the side chick, it is good to bring yourself to the man and tell him, I am tired of being called a side chick. Introduce me to your wife and introduce me to your family, so that the world knows that we are two. You are not one like you normally say. But now again, why would a man have 2, 3 side chicks? We should be asking that question. Why should he be having 3 in the secret? Is it because of love, or is it because of lust? You know, there are 2 things. Love and lust. And you know, a man cannot tell me, I am looking for somebody outside there because my wife is not satisfying me. So that your wife does not satisfy you, do you ask yourself the reason? Because if you ask yourself the reason, why do I feel like my wife is not satisfying me? Before even you go out, you start looking for answers. Because I am sure you loved your wife, and that is why you married her, introduced her to the altar, took her to the parents, if it is a traditional wedding. No, you cannot take somebody that you don't love to be known to the world. So you loved her. Initially there was love. Now why do you say she's not satisfying you? And that's why you're looking for side chicks. Jitaka mkutano na ujiulize, as a man, where did I fail? I need to put this woman right. If it is communication breakdown that went south, ask yourself, when did we stop communicating? And you begin from there. Because I believe is marriage is on love, not on fantasies, that marriage is going to last. Na utatafuta wengine. But if this love, if this marriage has been cemented by circumstances, do you know there are circumstances that make people meet? For example, Chebet walking in town, and you fall down, you are not married, you fall down, and then a very handsome gentleman comes and picks you up, talks to you nicely, helps you, takes you to hospital, and then you start feeling, oh, he's so good. I think I should get married to him when he proposes. And him could be honest, or a helpless girl. You know, there are people married because they are feeling pity, or they are pathetic towards you. So when you get into this marriage, you realize, I thought you'd be like this, and you start now going out to look for those who are going to be the ones that you want. So a man should always ask himself, where am I going out and leaving my lovely wife in the house? It begins somewhere. And men should stop blaming the women so much. We know we are to blame because of our emotions, but not every time that a woman is wrong. Our instincts are normally correct. So a man should ask, before I go out, why is it not, why am I not getting that satisfaction? Because if you're that man who comes into the house and sits down, TV, no communication. Atumekuja kwa umechoka. So you don't want even the woman talking to you, asikuongeze ma stress zake. The next time you come with your stress, sata kuangalia. Na utaona yeye mbaya. Yet you are the one who began to bring that problem. This is what I'm telling men. Before you go out, and if you have to go out and have the 3, introduce them to your wife and hear the opinion of your wife. Chebet akikuletea mabi, unajua nikienda nje nikapata kareba kukushida, nikaamua nikue nako kae kana nisaidia na kana kusaidia. You should wait for your opinion, and you can say, yeah, it is a good idea. Let her be my co-wife. Bring her. So that, you know, one another. Because why am I saying this? Irene and Chebet. These men are making even the wives be seen like they are nobodies by these co-wives, or there's not co-wives, the side chicks.
Yes.
Nona. And they are told, huyo mwanamke umpatie taraka, unioe mimi. Nona. Na unajua mwanaume kabla apatie the first wife taraka, it is hard. It is hard. It is hard. Ndio walitoana kule chini, wakafika penye wamefikanisha, alafu the side chick comes because of the wallet. The wallet. No. And viewers, we are not talking about co-wives, eh? You know there's a difference between a co-wife and a side chick. So you should not quote us that we tunaigilia co-wives. We are talking about a side chick who comes because ameona this man has something. Before when he was a nobody, na hata labda alikuwa majirani na mama rafiki yako anamuona. But sasa amewekwa vizuri na wife. Amejitokeza. Na she want to have the say in that family. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, so a man should realize how they began with the first wife. The respect should be maintained. Respect should be maintained. That takes me back to the question we were trying to have the other time. Unaona? He is my friend, but anaenda kunisema kwa the former girlfriend. You know, marriage is all about respect. Don't go discussing me with your side chicks because that is not ataniona mimi matope. Watakuwa na make sure anapika ka selfie inapostiwa kwangu ili nione. Baada tufike hapo, lete huyu mama ama huyu side chick kwangu usikie maoni yangu.
Yeah, sure.
Nipatie ruhusa uendelee.
Yeah.
Ama usiendelee. From there you discuss it.
Yeah, of course, you know, when she's talking about that, just thinking that, you know, sometimes even the wives, they know they have a weakness. Maybe it might be, maybe this lady is not giving birth to children or something like that. And so the husband decides that, you know what, I can get a child from, you know, as you're saying, bring the side chick home ili sasa ijulikane kwamba nimeleta huyu awe anazalisha watoto. Na the respect that you're talking about, mlete katika ile heshima. Kwamba kama ingekuwa ni kwa sababu azai, si kwamba nina shida vile, maybe I just want huyo mtoto. Unasikia? Ingawaje, we know from a Christian setup, we know there's something that we can do about that, but I'm talking generally. So if this girl or that woman has to be brought home, then mlete. Tujuane. Hii mambo ya mtu amekufa wanaleta, kuna wamama wengine wamekaa hapo wamefura hivi, and sasa who is the problem? If you wanted us to know you, you could have come before this guy died. Now you are coming kwa matanga, tunaongelesha nani. So most probably you'll just have to be allowed to walk home because you could have come early ili to discuss hii issue na tujue ni makosa gani nilifanya ndio wakaenda wakakuzalisha mtoto ndio sasa nitakana huyu mtoto aletwe kwa boma. Tungeelewana and we see where the integral point is. But if you sit there and then come when we can't talk to nobody, how sure are we even? Tukitaka kufanya DNA tunafanya wapi? Si kutokea kwa watoto wangu. Maana si ungekuja mapema tufanye mapema kama huyu mtu bado wako. Okay.
Yes, it was actually your time about the issue of mtu ana pretend that he has one wife. Mwanamke ana pretend that ana mwanaume mmoja, but then chini ya maji vitu zinaendelea huko.
Yeah, I think Sarah mentioned it well, and I think she said something like, unajua, the moment mtu anajua kwamba ni makosa kuoa wanawake zaidi ya moja, ndiye anajifanya hivyo. You see, but kama unaona chenye unafanya iko sawa, why don't you just come out and say, to me, I'm realizing I have to marry 2, 3, 4. And you know, sometimes women tuko na shida moja kwamba you love with your heart, and that is about you. So when somebody comes up with such an issue, then let's follow the right procedures and then say, huyu ameamua kabisa yeye anataka kuleta wanawake wengi. Badala ya kunisumbua, you know, I'm here, sometimes kuna simu inapigwa, unakimbia kama mwendazimu, you go upstairs to listen to I don't know what. You know, you leave me with a lot of hurt than you know, I could have been if tumejua anakuanga na mke na wekwa naishi sijui nikileleshwa. So let me live here knowing that there's another wife. When you're not here, we know you are the other side. You see, so that because that is who a woman is. If you let her know, if we sit down and talk about this and it is realized that for sure this man, na kwa sababu ya kuweka hizo side chicks ni kwa sababu tu wanajua hata wakileta their reasons kwa table haita hold water. Sasa inabidi ifanyiwe huko. Maana ikiletwa hapa alafu sasa wanakuwa wakali. So what you need to do, bring it here. Na tutakutoa rangi kabisa na hata kila mtu mwenye anasikia atapata. There's nothing. Hakuna kitu inafanya. Because utasema ati mwanamke ajui kuosha vyombo. I told you here. Kama ajui kuosha vyombo, ingia naye jikoni. Sugueni vyombo. Mujue vile hivi vyombo wewe unataka isuguliwe. Kama ni kupika ugali. Mama amesema hapa, kuna wale walifundishwa na walifanyiwa kazi na ma-aunties. The nannies at home. So if you realize this is the problem, go with her, become that nanny, but now a nanny that is teaching. So that give her time, teach. Maana hata wewe kwenu kama mama yako alikufundisha kupika, hakufundisha one day, kuna siku uliharibu upishi. Kwa hivyo wewe pia mfundishe, mpatie time. Kama kweli atakataa, ndio utasema huyu, na umejua that is a reason ambao ukileta kwa meza na kuna watu wanasikiliza, watakwambia okay, if you decided to get married, we have no reason against that. But kwa sababu watu wanajua, if you bring these reasons, they won't hold water. So inafanyiwa na huko na huko na huko. Na nimekwambia hizo reasons zingine, sijui kupika, sijui kuvaa. Kuvaa sasa inatokea wapi? Kama ajui kuvaa, enda na yeye. Siku hizi we even have these phones. You show her how people are putting on, and then bring the clothes exactly like that one, and then help her put it on. Wacha jiangalie kwa kioo. The next time mwanamke atakuwa perfect, atajua kuvaa. You see? Yeah, if it is hairstyle, take her somewhere kwa salonist. Naambia huyo mama nataka umshuke tu kama hii, and then ashuke uone. Itokezee kama vile unataka. And then we'll be resolving this problem. But you go sit there with your own reasons that will not hold water when you bring them on the table, and then you tell us that is the reason why you're having the side chicks. I think you have a problem. And as she did say it, alisema vizuri sana, you know that marrying more than one wife is and you can't even take care of them if left so. Because unajua ule pengine umemchukua kwa sababu ya mfuko wake.
Yeah, I think
and women, I'm also talking to women about the same.
I think Irene umereze issue nzuri sana. They are doing that because they know that if they come out, there are reasons. Reasons za niseme ndogo ndogo tu peti sana. So I think that you've gotten those advice from Sarah Muridhi and also from Irene Bushedi. We're going to stop there for today, but next week I think that we'll still continue. I know that marriage is wide and we'll not tackle everything in this period. So we'll continue the same on in our next program, that is next week. So tune in if you want to continue this conversation. But you can keep the conversation going via our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, Maisha Television Kenya, Instagram and Twitter at Maisha TV KE, or via our phone number, which is 0746999841. My name is Rida Chebet Karing, and leo nimekuwa na acha leo niwache wasema majina yao from my friend
Sarah Muridhi,
Irene Bushedi.
So asanteni sana, nashukuru, and asante sana to our viewers. See you next time.